Hello everyone, I'm very happy to be here today to present GTT innovative technologies to decarbonize. So today we're going to talk about decarbonization for shipping especially. So I'll try to be quick. I planned this presentation for 15 minutes, but I try my best. So for those of you who do not know GTT, we're a French engineering company. We're a French engineering company. We're a French engineering company specialized in cryogenic containment systems for liquid gases, such as LNG, of course, and ethane. So our headquarters is in Paris. We have several commercial offices in China, in the US, and Singapore. We're going to open a new office in the Middle East pretty soon. We have several subsidiaries, one called Elogen, producing proton exchange membrane electrolyzers to produce green hydrogen. We have also digital companies such as Majorca, Ascens, and OSE, providing smart shipping solutions. And we have also a subsidiary called GTT Training, providing LNG training courses for the industry, and also another one performing the maintenance tests for our tanks. So we have a significant return of experience with more than 60 years. We have right now more than 800 LNG carriers and FSRUs and FLNGs as well in service and in order. More than 90, almost 100 LNG fueled ships. And of course, more than 50 onshore tanks that we call GBSs, which is a gravity-based structure. Our technology, so a quick reminder of how it works, this membrane. So the code tells you that you have to have two barriers, one to hold the energy, and a secondary barrier to be secondary barrier in case of failure of the primary barrier. And this system is anchored to the inner hull of the ships. We have two families, the Mark III and the NO96 system. So Mark III is the one that we use for the LNG as fuel segment. This is a quick reminder of the boil-off rate and the innovation that we have been able to develop in the past years. So we have divided by 2 our boil-off rate in 6 years. These figures are boil-off rate applied for LNG carriers, standard ones, 174,000 cubics. So you can see that we have reached 0.07% with the Mark III Flex Plus, which is basically increasing the thickness of the insulation. So a quick word on LNG versus the other future fuels that are considered, especially methanol. We see a lot of orders for methanol-fueled ships. Well, we believe, as Mr. Balian said, that LNG is not only a fuel of transition, is a fuel in transition, especially if we consider the bio-LNG development and the synthetic LNG. So if we consider a two-stroke engine and you compare the carbon footprint, SOx and NOx, we can clearly see that LNG right now is the better solution if you compare to methanol, which is only, there's no green methanol so far. And we also see some orders switching from methanol back to LNG because there are no green methanol available in the next decade, let's say. Well, that's at least enough for everyone. So yes, we believe that especially if you blend bio-LNG and e-LNG, you're able to comply with the future regulations, especially the Fuel EU trajectory, which is not the case with methanol. A quick words on our project. So basically, our core business is LNG carriers, but we were able to adapt this technology for the LNG as a fuel market. So the first project that we've had is the Clean Jacksonville bunkering barge, which is the very first bunkering barge in the US, a Jones Act barge that has now been in operation since 2018 with more than 300 bunkering operations. And then we can see the journey that we have been able to make. As the photo on your right-hand side is the first CMA CGM 23,000 TEU container vessels LNG propelled with an almost 19,000 cubics LNG tank with our system, bunkering in November 2020 in Rotterdam with the MOL Gas Agility bunkering vessel, which is also equipped with our technology. So basically, on the two ships, you have the same technology and the same capacity. So in November 2020, it was the first significant milestone for us, and this bunkering operation they were able to bunker a bit more than 17,000 cubics, and 13% of biogas as well. There's also the sister ship of the Gaztransport, which is in Marseille, and bunkering MSC Cruise and CMA CGM as well. Our latest bunkering vessel is the Brassavola, the one with Total Energy and Pavilion that has been delivered and will start operations in Singapore. This is our reference for the dual fuel LNG container fleet. So we started in 2017 with 14 vessels, 9 vessels of 23,000 TEU with big tanks of 19,000 cubics, and 5 vessels of 15,000 TEU with energy tanks of 14,000 cubics. So these vessels have been delivered, are already in service, and have already performed numerous bunkering. So as you can see in this summary, we have been able to implement our technologies with most of the major ship owners like MSC, PIL, ZIM, Seaspan, and so on. I'd just like to have to say a few words on the Seaspan ZIM project. I'm not sure if you can. Okay, anyway, the Seaspan ZIM project was the first ammonia ready. So this ammonia readiness notation was actually something that is quite appreciated by owners, as it gives flexibility for future fuel. So basically, we're able to also provide this ammonia readiness notations for PIL. And you see that there's also a slowing down in 2023 when it comes to LNG container vessels, as methanol has gained momentum, but we see now it is shifting again back to LNG. So a few words on the new developments that we've been able to provide for the industry. A few words on the ammonia readiness, which I have just mentioned. So this is the first vessel with ammonia readiness. This is the ZIM Israeli liner chartering to the Seaspan Canadian ship owner. So it's a 12,000 cubics with Mark III technology. So basically, what it means is that you're able to have an ammonia readiness notation thanks to our primary barrier, which is in stainless steel being compatible with ammonia. And we changed the shape of the tanks to be able to incur sloshing loads, and we reinforce the structure and the scantling. So this is a picture of the tank. You can see that the shape is quite different from what we used to do, because, as I mentioned, sloshing is one of the main challenges, and it's actually a pretty impressive big tank of 12,000 cubics. So as I mentioned, we already have AIPs for this ammonia readiness notations with Bureau Veritas, Class NK, DNV, and the other classes, AIPs with other classes is ongoing. So as I mentioned, we have to modify the tank shape to be able to incur the sloshing loads. We reinforce the steel structure, and we also select the steel grades accordingly, as the inner hull will be the secondary barrier as per the IGF code. We've also been able to provide a new semi-active system called Recycle, which is basically a recondenser. So the first application is for this project, the CMA CGM 7,000 TU, 7,600 TU vessel in Samsung. So it's a 6,000 cubic LNG tank. Boiler freight is 0.30, whereas if we have used Mark III Flex, it would have been a lower boiler freight with 0.19. So basically, this system allows to recondense a part of your BOG and to send it back to the LNG tank. This is a picture of the new system that we have been able to, that we are commercializing with 2 partners, Nikiso and Cryostar. This one is the first project was with Cryostar. So yeah, quick explanation of the Recycle. So basically, you have your LNG tank, you send your BOG to your auxiliary engine, and your boiler, of course, and then you send your LNG, not your BOG, your LNG to the main engine. And the idea is to use the power of cold energy to recondensate part of your BOG, and you send it back to the LNG tank. So it's a quite easy concept, and actually it has been, we see a lot of other segments compared to the container vessel that are actually asking for such solutions. So basically, trying to be quick, Mr. Balian. So basically, the recycle, you're able to recondensate 50% of your boiler freight if you're sailing at 50 knots. If you're sailing at 20 knots, you're able to recondensate 100% of your BOT. So of course, this has to be applied with your operational profile and the trade that you're considering for this innovation. LNG block as well, so we're able to simplify the construction of the membrane tank, basically by constructing a block with our LNG tank and then to ship it to a different yard. So this allows to have a faster construction with this new application. This has already been the case in China with the Zhongnan shipyard. Boiler freight, as I mentioned, we have the first Mark III Flex, so thicker insulation for the container vessels, which was for the MSC project. So 12,700 cubics, and the boiler freight is actually reaching a 0.18% per volume per day. So which is actually a very low boiler freight. And we guarantee this figure, which means that the operational boiler freight is actually lower, since we have a security margin. And then improve flexibility with increased pressure, because our tank are atmospheric pressure. And for this project, it is a cruise vessel, a very fancy company called the Ponant. So the Commandant Charcot has the first membrane tank reaching 2 bar gauge. This is an alternative design. This vessel has been delivered, and you can see that it has been performing bunkering with Kairos. This is a 2 bar gauge alternative design, which has to be approved by the flag. As you can see on this picture, Ponant was actually considering Type C tanks of 2,900 cubics, and then they came to us, and we were able to reach 4,500, and thanks to the capacity of our system, we were able to save 1 deck, and this saving is actually very, very precious for Ponant, because I think 1 cabin is 30,000 euros. So they were able to commercialize much more cabins and to compensate the overall cost. And there are specific shapes. We've never done shapes like this, so this is quite a funny picture. We also have solutions for the tanker segment with the very large crude carriers. This one we already have made a JDP with Total and Chinese yards. So we have 2 designs, one with the tank in the midship sections. We can go up to 14,000 cubics. VLCCs usually they require significant autonomy, but we're also able to develop this design with the tank aft of the accommodation block. But this one can only reach 12,500 cubics. For the Suezmax tankers as well, we have developed this design with the LNG tank aft the accommodation block. And for PCTCs as well, we've been able to provide a solution reaching 2 bar gauge, just like the Ponant Commandant Charcot. And with our system, PCTCs are able to save up to 150 car equivalent units. So of course, generating more revenues. So that's more or less it for me. So what we can take away from my presentation is that we have solutions for every segment, more or less. We could have talked about bulkers or bunkering vessels in detail. We are able to save space with the capacity of our system. We have also, as I mentioned, flexibility with the increased design pressure, boil off, recondenser, and so on. If you have any questions, please feel free. Thank you.
Any questions, please? Yeah, please. Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. This is Pratham from IIT Roorkee. So I was just interested to like you started a presentation with a comparison between LNG versus methanol versus ammonia. Yeah. So as all of us envision that methanol and ammonia are going to be greener in the future. Greener, or maybe coming from a greener source. Maybe after 15 years, 20 years, like the supply chain is going to change a lot. Do you expect something similar for LNG as well? Like maybe it's coming from biomass or from hydrogen?
So, as I mentioned, we believe that LNG is not a fuel off transition, but a fuel in transition, especially with now bio-LNG and synthetic LNG. Mm-hmm. We see now that for the bunkering tenders, it is a game changer for suppliers to be able to provide bio-LNG. So we believe that LNG has still a bright future. But when you talk about methanol and ammonia, what are we talking about? Gray, blue,
Yep.
green. Personally, I believe that ammonia has a, let's say, a bright future as well, although there are still some technical challenges. Of course, with the toxicity and the fuel gas handling system, what happens in terms of if there's a leakage. So this still has to be, there's still some challenges to be overcome. And but I believe that blue ammonia with a 70% CO2 reduction is going to become something more and more interesting for the owners. And you talked about, Mr. Balian, ammonia. We are able to store liquid ammonia, which is cryogenic, and to have a better net volume. But when it comes to methanol, we see a lot of orders for dual fuel methanol propulsion, but actually it's only PR because these vessels will be running on diesel, and there's no green ammonia coming anytime soon. So yeah.
Thanks.
Any other question, please? Well, I have some questions, Mr. Kadiri. Number one, I think wonderful presentation. I see from the point of view of opportunities in the Indian scenario. So I think number one, I capture that from the Indian perspective, smaller ships of the size of 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 cubic meter is one thing that I think India would be looking for. I think there is it's only a time that they would require. Number two, bunkering facilities, where India is located at a very strategic position where, the trade between the Asian countries and the European countries is going very close to the Indian Ocean and close to some of the ports here. It could be ideal situation and location for perhaps bunkering. And bunkering using LNG as a fuel. And I see that many of the ports are becoming cleaner ports. They may not permit ships to come in there with polluting, fuel. So it is a matter of time, to my mind, like in Europe and the Scandinavian countries, some of the more areas would keep on coming under clean area. So that's one thing. Also inland trading and inland waterways, they are increasing. So I think there's a lot of applications. But my two questions on, one is that, I thought the boil-off rates have come down to less than 0.1.
Yes. It has.
But I see that you have still saying 0.15 or 0.18, which is...
So basically, the smaller the tank is, the bigger the boil-off rate is. So we have the best boil-off rate in the market, which is 0.07 per volume per day. But these figures are applied for LNG carriers. So
LNG carrier means bigger size, is it?
174,000 cubics is the standard LNG carrier. Our core business is LNG carrier. We guarantee this boil-off rate. So we actually have a lower boil-off rate. The operational one is 0.05, 0.06, but these figures are for LNG carriers, which is a different segment than LNG as fuel. So if you compare the competition for us in the LNG as fuel market, is either type C or type B. And we have better boil-off rate than the two other systems. That's why we have a significant number of orders. This is the first point. When you talk about inland, of course, it is something that we are able to provide solution for, but in Europe, there's a strict regulations in the ADN, which limits LNG tanks for inland waterways to...
Is your microphone on?
Sorry. To limitate the LNG tank for the inland waterway to 1,000 cubics, which means that if you want to have a bunkering vessel for inland waterways of 10,000 cubics, you need to have 10 tanks, which cost-wise doesn't make sense. But I guess you don't have the same constraints here in India.
Yes.
But I'm not sure if there's a lot of players ready to go for LNG as fuel in India yet.
But I see a lot of opportunities there on that. And last question on ammonia.
Yes.
How do you see ammonia coming up in terms of growth vis-a-vis LNG as a use in marine fuel and otherwise also?
As I just mentioned to our fellow colleague, is that I believe ammonia is coming. That's the reason why we've developed this ammonia readiness notations. We see that the cruise market wants to tick the future fuel box with an ammonia readiness. blue ammonia. There's no green, but blue ammonia, as I mentioned, is 70% CO2 reduction. So we will have to fix the challenges of the fuel gas handling systems, what happens in terms of leakage and the regulations with the port authorities and so on. We believe, GTT, that ammonia has a future, and the demand will increase, and hydrogen as well. I didn't mention it, but we're developing a new technology for liquid hydrogen, which is the toughest challenge. As you know, it's minus 252 degrees. We have a cooperation agreement with Total to work on the next generation of liquid hydrogen carriers, 150,000 cubics of liquid hydrogen, and with Shell as well. So we are working with these two majors, and we already have a technology. We are hoping to have the first order in 2027, 2028, and have the first liquid hydrogen carrier delivered by the end of this decade. So ammonia, hydrogen, we are definitely focused on, and I could finish by saying that the onshore tanks, which I haven't presented here because this is a future fuel conference, but onshore tanks, we are able to provide ammonia readiness notation, which means that no retrofit will be needed. You could accommodate ammonia on your onshore tank because there's no sloshing onshore, so it makes things easier. And we're developing also a new technology just for ammonia onshore storage.
I see. What about hydrogen?
So I just mentioned hydrogen.
Hydrogen also?
Onshore. If we have a technology for shipping, onshore is easy because there's no sloshing. The two main challenges is what happens in terms of leakage. If you have a leakage, will it damage your insulation? And what happens in terms of sloshing? So for shipping, we have been able to provide this ammonia readiness notation and to come up with new solutions to fix these sloshing problems, like bulkheads that will reduce the sloshing. But hydrogen, if we develop this new technology that we have developed.
So your target is by 2028, you will have some full-fledged ammonia ships and also hydrogen.
So the ammonia ships have already been delivered. The first ZIMC span is an ammonia-ready notation from DNV. It has been delivered this month. So this month. So we already have an ammonia-ready LNG tank, but this is for container LNG as fuel market. So basically, they will have to retrofit if they want to use ammonia as fuel. They will have to retrofit the engine, which we don't have yet. MAN says that the two-stroke engine for ammonia is 2025. Let's see. So there are still some challenges.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
If there are no questions, I think we can give a